Welcome to this short video where I'm going to be sharing my 3 top tips and some fantastic bonuses around how you can get the absolute maximum value out of your time at Accountex 2022. Let's get started. This morning, I am going to be sharing with you my 3 top tips and some bonuses around how you can get the absolute maximum out of Accountex 2022, which is next Wednesday, a week today, next Wednesday and Thursday. As always, if you have any questions as we're going through, please feel free to pop them in the Q&A box and I will gladly answer them as we go through. And I've already got some preloaded questions in the system from when people registered. Good morning, Gavin. Please feel free to use the Q&A box if you can on the left-hand side of the raised hand feature. If you pop them in there, then I'll definitely see them. If you want to put them in the chat box, then please feel free to do that as well. And I'm going to run through these and fire through these ideas pretty quickly. And what you'll see and what you'll discover is that they are very simple. I mean, there's nothing that I'm going to share with you this morning that I don't think you've not already seen. However, the power is in the thinking time. It's you sitting aside and actually focusing on what it is that you are going to do with the content that I am sharing with you this morning. So if I press that little magic button and press that button, you should be able to see my screen. And as I said, ultimately today, we're going to be talking about how to get the best from your visit to Accountex. And I've promised 3 things that I am going to share with you. I'm going to be sharing the 3 things you must do before you leave the house. I'm going to be sharing how you can get access to the Accountants Mastermind WhatsApp group, and you are the first people to get that link. So if you join today, you will definitely get in the WhatsApp group, and I'm going to share with you what the WhatsApp group is around and how you can get value out of that. And then finally, I'm going to be sharing with you the number 1 thing that you must do to make sure that you implement what you've learned at the event. And I am also with that going to be sharing a further bonus to give you some ideas around how you're going to work that out. So without further ado, the first thing, the absolute first thing that you must do before you leave the house is set the objective. Why are you going to Accountex? So it's a free event, okay? So it's not going to cost you anything financially to go to the event. Obviously, you've got to pay for your travel and accommodation if you're staying overnight, but the event isn't going to cost you anything other than your travel and your time. Now, if you think about what your charge out rate would be for a day out of the office, let's just say it's 150 quid. You're going to spend 6 hours at Accountex. So that's a 900 quid's worth of investment for you to spend that day at Accountex. Now, it amazes me the amount of people that just turn up at Accountex and have a wander around for a day out, if you like. Now, if you're going to invest that time and the little bit of money, you really need to get clarity on what it is that you want out of the event. Why are you going? Now, it might be to improve your communication skills. It might be to improve your leadership skills, your sales skills. It might be to review all of the practice management apps. It might be to go to the parties. So if it's some relaxation time, conscious relaxation time out of the practice. So if it's to be relaxed, then set that as the objective and make sure that you focus on it. Now, we had a question in the system around from Kate, and Kate said she is taking a team of 6 to Accountex. How do we manage and implement the learnings as a group or individually? So Kate is investing 6 times what an individual would be if they was going along. So it's absolutely vital, Kate, for you to get an objective for you as the 6 people. So why is it that you're taking all of those people along? The more specific, the better. And then for each individual within that 6 is to set smart, clarifying objectives for them so they know. Another little tip as well, Kate. I always think it's better if they go off on their own because they can experience it. But you do like a roll call or whatever and say you're going to turn up at 10 o'clock. you have a roll call at 12 o'clock and have a sandwich and a cup of coffee, and then again at 2 o'clock and again at 4 o'clock before you disappear or go and get in the car. So sort of rendezvous points, if you like, so you can catch up. But number one, the most important thing that you can do before you go to Accountex is set an objective. Sounds very simple. Most people don't. And if you don't set the objective, then you've got no idea why it is that you're going along. And therefore, anything that you do is of value until you leave on the Thursday night or the Wednesday night, or whatever it is that you go home and you feel disappointed because you don't feel as though you've actually achieved anything. So number one is set the objective. Number two is to plan which speakers you are going to see. So there are over, I think it's over 100 different speakers on at different times in different sessions. And if you're not careful about working out who it is that you want to see and when you want to see them, then they can be clashes and all the other different things. And again, Kate, if you've got team members, then they can go off to different places and do different things all at the same time. Now, I am going to recommend, obviously, that you come to my speaker session. So I've got two. They are both on the Wednesday this time. So in the ACCA Theatre at 3 o'clock, I'm talking about the 7 savvy steps to grow your almost perfect accountancy practice. We're going to be talking about Banish the Bottleneck, my book, and 3 of the steps within that I think are the most important steps in order for you to implement, in order for you to help delegate better. And then at 5 o'clock, so the last shift in the People, Talent and Culture Theatre, I'm going to be talking about how to recruit the best talent. So how to find them, recruit them, and induct them into your practice without paying a recruitment agent a penny. Now, obviously, they are going in your diary now as we speak. If you want to look at what the other speakers have got on or the other opportunities, if you go to the Accountex website, you can book your ticket and see who's, but in the middle here, there's a view the program. So if you click on view the program, there's all this stuff at the top and the timetables and all the rest of it. But down here, you've got your searches. So you can pick any of the theatres that you want. You can pick any of the speakers that you want. My name's down here somewhere. There we go. And then as soon as you select the speaker or whichever one it is, then it comes up with the sessions. Now, if you want to focus on, say, let's just get rid of that so it works. If you want to focus on, say, time management, in this little box, you can type in time and hopefully something will pop up. Here we go. Timely payment of tax, helping clients. So all of these relate to time challenges. So on the subject, if your objective is to focus on a particular subject at Accountex, then you can search and work out which speakers at which time on what day it is that you are going to see. That is, for me, if you're looking to gain knowledge and go and see the speakers, and for me, that's one of the most important parts of Accountex. I love going along and hearing different people's opinions on different things, challenging my preconceptions, and then going away and implementing them within the practice. So if you want to do that, obviously block mine out for 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock on the Wednesday, and then pick the other sessions around that. So plan the speakers. My second recommendation is plan who you're going to meet from the community. Now, within the Accountants Mastermind community, within the Facebook group and the WhatsApp group, there will be people that you've helped you've supported, that you've never met. And this is a perfect opportunity for you to sit down, have a cup of coffee with them, say thank you, pick the brains if they don't mind doing that. Now, it's very easy to say, oh, we'll catch up at Accountex, or I'll see you at Accountex. Now, it's a big place, obviously. There'll be 2,500 people there each day, roughly. So there's a lot of people. Now, the chances of you bumping into somebody is pretty high, but the chances of you bumping into somebody when they're free and you're free, if you've planned your exhibitors, you've planned your speakers and all the rest of it, is, I would say, pretty remote. So there's lots of crossing backwards and forwards. So if there's somebody within the community that you would like to see, then make sure you get a time and a location in the diary. And there's a couple of places. There's a coffee shop right at the back of the exhibition hall, or you meet them at the entrance, or you come and meet them on our stand. So the Accountants Mastermind stand 300, which I'll be sharing with you in a minute. And you use that as a meeting point, and obviously come and say hello to us as well. But plan, if there are people within the community that you want to speak to, make sure you plan a time and a location to meet them, rather than just leaving it to chance. Third up, plan which exhibitors you are going to see. So if you are going to look for practice management software or new payroll software, whatever it is that you're going, if you're going to do a whole day or half a day looking at those things, make sure that you've got a list of those on a piece of paper before you arrive. So you're not filming through or trying to use the Wi-Fi, looking through who it is that you've spoken to and not spoken to. So plan who it is, what exhibitors you're going to go and see. And as I've already said, we are at stand 300 on both days. And you are obviously more welcome to come along and have a conversation with us about how the mastermind works. And we're also going to have some pretty special offer to help you around your time and productivity challenges. So you can come along and find out more about that on the day. But basically, stand 300, as you walk through the door, if you turn immediately left and then walk along that corridor, then we are on the left-hand side at the end of on the end of the row of stands. So really, really easy to find. You just walk straight in the door and turn left. Next up, what you need to do, and this is one of the bonuses, next up is to actually work out what it is that you're going to do when you get to the practice. So you need a method of working out, of recording, and of the word possible in that post-it note is very important. You need a method to record the possible actions that you're going to take. Now, it's very easy. As you walk around, you'll get a list and you'll add things to it, and you'll hear a speaker and you'll add something to it. You'll see an app or you'll see a piece of software and you'll add something to it. And before you know where you are, you've got a piece of paper, not dissimilar to this, with loads of stuff written on it, or you've got a note on your phone or whatever, and it just becomes completely unmanageable and ultimately overwhelming. So my recommendation to you is that you use an action planning sheet, and Mark is going to pop the Dropbox link to our action planning link in the chat box now. So all you got to do is click that link and a file should open up, a PDF file should open up. And what you'll get is a copy of the action planning sheet that we use at the mastermind groups in order to help the delegates, the members, plan the action and make sure it gets done. So as you'll see on the left hand side, you write out the action that you are going to take. You then write in the how will I know it's done. You need the evidence. What will have happened? What will have changed in order for you to know that you've completed the action? The next column is who is doing it. So it doesn't have to be you that's implementing. It's very easy. Again, as you go around these seminars, you go around Accountex, there's all these ideas that you've got, and you assume naturally that you will be the best person to implement that action. So that's just a little reminder about whether it needs to be you that's doing it or whether it can be a team member that's doing it. When is it got to be done by? So what date? So set a time. Is it urgent? So does it need doing by the end of May or the end of June? Or is it something that could be done longer term? And then obviously at the end, tick, is it done? And my recommendation is you take a pencil, and as you're going around, you write in pencil the actions that you are possibly going to take. That's the important word in the post-it note, the actions that you're possibly going to take once you get back to the office. And then, as I say, and a little idea coming up in a minute, but then you can review that action sheet, rub out any that you don't want to do. The adrenaline got the better of you, or you got bribed at one of the stands or something, and it wasn't congruent with the objective that you set at the start of the day. So download the action plan sheet. The last thing that you really need to do, sorry, I went the wrong way. The last thing that you really need to do before you go is book the parties. So if you want to go to any of the parties, they nearly all require you to pre-register. There's a number of them. If you look on LinkedIn, they're all over the place at the moment. The one that springs to mind is Ignition, and then there's a capitalized one on the boat that I know about. But you need to register for those parties. And the majority of them are free, and they're free booze and free food as well, and they take place on the Wednesday night. If you're a Go Proposal member, there's a Go Proposal event as well, a breakfast on the Wednesday morning, but you need to be a customer of Go Proposal to go along to that. So just have a little Google, speak to the people that you know, speak to the apps that you use, and see if they have got an event that you would find value in. But you need to book them before you get there. Okay, so that's a bonus one. Next up is the WhatsApp group. So I'm a massive fan of WhatsApp. I think it's a really, really easy way and an instant way to communicate with your community, with our community. So what we're doing for Accountex is we have a dedicated WhatsApp group that we've created specifically for people that are going to Accountex. And Mark is going to pop that in the chat box now. So if you're on your PC and you've got WhatsApp, all you need to do is click that link and you can join that WhatsApp group. That WhatsApp group is going to be limited to, well, it is because WhatsApp do it, 256, I think it is 257 members. So get in quick because it's going out to the list and on LinkedIn and various other places over the course of tomorrow. And the idea of the WhatsApp group is that you'll have instant access. Stacey, if you go onto your phone, it's the same, Stacey. So if you click that link on your phone, it should open WhatsApp on your phone. If that doesn't work, Stacey, then let me have your mobile telephone number or PM me your mobile telephone number and I will add you physically. I'll just need to mess about and then you have to give permission or whatever. But if you click that link either on your phone or on your PC, and Stacey, if you've not got WhatsApp on your PC, you really need to get WhatsApp on your PC as well because it's so much easier than it just being on your phone. But anyway, the idea behind the group is that you join the group and then you'll get real-time information. You can get real-time information from people that are at the event answering questions that you want the answer to. So say, for example, you walk up to a software provider and they give you all of the flannel, they give you all of the sales process and all the rest of it. You think, cool, blimey, I really, really must buy that software. Yeah, I'm going to have that software. What you can do is you can say, okay, I'm going to go away and think about it. You can go to the WhatsApp group and you can post in the WhatsApp group, hello, does anybody use ABC Limited software? And then hopefully the members that are in the group, somebody will say, yes, it's fantastic, go and get it organized. Or somebody will say, oh, well, we did do, but it was a bit slow. We never managed to do it with clients or whatever. So you can get live instant reviews from our community whilst you are there in Accountex. So it's a fantastic, for me, a fantastic result. As much as possible, and I can't promise this because WhatsApp is a bit of a strange one. As much as possible, there will only be accountants within that WhatsApp group. So there won't be any vendors. There won't be anybody other than us, obviously, supplying to the accountancy profession. If I catch anybody or we find anybody within the group that is a vendor, we'll remove them in order for us to be able to have an open and honest conversation about any of the providers, any of the suppliers within the community, within the room, sorry. So first one is your ability to ask questions. The next one is to share ideas. So over the course of the 2 days, I will be posting some videos and some content and asking you questions about what's the one thing that you've currently got from the presentations or you've currently got from the day. And if we all come together and we all share one of those ideas, so I went to see X speak and he shared this, or this was really, really good, then as well as your own experience, you can also share in other people's experiences as well. So you can get even more value than you just coming along and experiencing it on your own. So, and I will prompt that. Mark, myself and Michelle over the course of the 2 days will prompt those sharing, but obviously you don't have to wait for us. If you see something really good that you want to share, just pop it in the WhatsApp group and away you go. We will also be able to share show updates. So if anything happens or anything changes, then we'll pop that in there so you know about it already, and opening times and closing times and when I'm speaking and all those sort of things, so you don't have to worry about it. And then the last thing, I want to build, as always, the sense of community. It's all about inspiring, challenging, and supporting us to be the very best that we want to be. And one of the ways to do that is to share photographs. So where you are, who you're talking to, what you're learning, what you're watching, etc., etc. And there will be some competitions or a competition around the sharing of those photographs. So we create a bit of a montage and, as I say, a bit of a community. And ultimately, when you share those competitions, then there will be a prize at the end of the process for what I consider to be the best photographs. So join the WhatsApp group, completely free, no obligation, etc., etc. And you will have the ability to do all of those 4 things. As I said, the link is in the chat box. Mark's posted it in the chat box. It will also, if you're watching this on YouTube or LinkedIn or the WhatsApp group that we've got set up for the main community or the Facebook group, the link will be in the comments somewhere in order for you to be able to join. Next up, and we're getting towards the end of this conversation. As I said, none of this is rocket science. You will know the majority of this is a question of you setting aside the time in order to make sure that you get the most value out of Accountex that you can. So the number one thing I believe that you should do to get the absolute most out of Accountex is put some time in the diary now for the day after you've been to Accountex. So if you're going on the Wednesday, put the time in the diary on the Thursday, block out the morning. If you're going on the Wednesday and Thursday, block out the time on the Friday. Don't leave it any later than Monday. But if you have to put it in the Monday, then put it in the Monday. But you need to put time in the diary now, block it out in order to take the action and implement. Otherwise, what'll happen is you'll get back to the office the day after and there'll be a whole list of emails, there'll be a whole list of WhatsApp messages, Facebook messages, LinkedIn to review, etc., and you'll get sucked back into the day-to-day transaction, if you like, of the accountancy practice. And before you know where you are, a week will have gone by, 2 weeks will have gone by, and you'll look back on the experience and go, well, it was a very nice experience, but did I really do anything with it? And then you'll feel guilt and shame and all the other, well, I've wasted my time, blah, 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 and it won't feel good. And it's as simple as putting some time in the day. If you can't spare half a day, just do an hour, do 90 minutes, do 2 hours, something in order for you to have the space, to create the space in order for you to take action with what it is that you've learned there at Accountex. And I've also got a little bonus for you. Mark will pop this in the chat box as well. There's a YouTube video that I've created that helps you prioritize what tasks you are going to implement when you're at Accountex. So if you think about it, you've got your whole list, your whole action planning list, and you've got all those different things. Now, it's very easy to look at it and go, well, I wrote that down first. We'll do number 1, then we'll do number 2, and then we'll do number 3. Or you look at the list and go, oh, I quite like number 9. I'll do number 9 first, and the next one's the easiest. Number 3 is the easiest. So we'll do number 3. And you kind of do it a bit haphazardly based on what it is that you really want to do or what you think is the easiest to implement. So the video on YouTube, which is only 3.5 minutes long, is basically me talking to the members of the Mastermind community, the full Mastermind community, showing you how to do a very, very simple cost benefit analysis to work out which actions that you've got on your list that's got the minimum amount of cost, so the least amount of cost for the maximum benefit, the maximum amount of return to you. And obviously cost breaks down into time and money. So they're the two. And fundamentally, the finite resource ultimately is your time. That's what is most valuable. So that resource, that video, that little tool will help you get the biggest bang for your buck of going to Accountex. So my recommendations, simply set the objective, work out what it is that you want from going along to Accountex with clarity. And if you've got team members going as well, make sure you help them get clarity on what it is that you're going. And if you're going for a social, be clear that you're going for a social and don't justify it by this, that, and all the rest of it. With clarity, what it is that you're going, what it is that you want out of the session. Second step, plan how you're going to meet that objective. And then the third step is to record the actions and implement them as soon as you get back to the office. And as I said, we are there. We will be at Accountex. I'm speaking at 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock on the Wednesday. Both of the topics really are around team issues, and it would be great if you would come along to those. And we will also be on stand 300 the whole time. Mark, myself, and Michelle will be there to share how we're working around with accountants through the Mastermind. So I have some questions that came in that I am now going to answer briefly. If anybody else has got any questions, want to provoke me or challenge me on anything that I've shared, or ask any questions around how you can get the most value out of Accountex, I will gladly answer them. Just pop them in the chat box or pop them in the Q&A box. So on the list that I've got in, Kirsty has asked, can you do it all in a day? And if so, which day? Or should I be staying overnight? Kirsty, I'm going to refer you back to your objective. What is it that you're going for? Why are you going? And then that objective will help you work out whether you need to go Wednesday or Thursday or both days. obviously my recommendation is that you're going to go on the Wednesday, because I'm speaking. Both of my speaking slots are on the Wednesday. So that would be my recommendation. But get clarity on your objective, and then you'll work it out. Previously, I've always, before we exhibited, when I was going as a representative, if you like, of Greenstones, my accountancy practice, I always did the Wednesday. I feel as though the Wednesday's got a bit of a buzz about it. Everybody's full of energy, and therefore, for me, it felt better. So I only ever did one day. Martine asked, if you're going for one day, which day would you choose? I would choose the Wednesday personally, as I have said. Peter said, is using the time to visit stores and ask questions better than spending time in the seminars? Again, Peter, it depends on what your objective of going to Accountex is. I predominantly went to the presentations to see the speakers, on the basis that any of the providers, the app providers, if I didn't get a chance to see the software vendors, I could always ring them up and book a demo 2 days after or 3 days after if I really wanted to. However, the majority of the speaking sessions, they don't get recorded. So it's sort of a once in a lifetime opportunity, if you like, to go along and see them. So the thing that I would always do is I would go through, pick out what speakers it is that I wanted to see over the course of the day on the Wednesday, and then I would fit the app people around the speaking presentations if I had chance, and I would prioritize the apps. So 1 to 6 or whatever it is that I wanted to see. So number 1 is this. So I'm going to go and see X presentation at 10 o'clock. And then at 11 o'clock, I am going to see Y on the app stands. Izzy has asked in the Q&A box, is it worth going both days? I wholeheartedly think it is. If you've got the time, depending again on what your objective is, if you've got the time that you can take that out of your practice, there is massive value. I mean, as I've said at the beginning, the speakers that Accountex have got there this year, the breadth of knowledge and the skill base that's there, I think it's where you can go and spend all day, both days, listening to the speakers. So yes, Izzy, I think it is worth going both days. Now, historically, as I said, I haven't done that. Kate asked about the team, which I've answered. Alex, the one most key thing to focus on to make attending the event value. I'm going to go back to the objective, Alex. Get clarity on what it is that you want out of the day. That'd be number 1. Yeah, get clarity out of your time. What is your objective? Number 2 would be to get the time in the diary. So when you come back from Accountex, you don't get sucked into the day to day. So you've got time to actually do it. And then thirdly, plan before you go. So work out your webinars and seminars, etc., etc. But set the objective, put time in the diary, and then plan how you're going to achieve the objective. And then last up, Adam has asked, what do you find the most worthwhile about attending Accountex? Well, it's changed for me over the years, as you can imagine. When it was Greenstones, we go along and I got a massive amount of information, watching the speakers speak, the content that they were sharing, etc., etc. Got a huge amount of value from that. Now, obviously, I get a different, because I'm speaking to members of the community. There's a big bond that's grown up over the last 3 or 4 years within the Mastermind. So for me, it's about actually physically speaking to people that lots of times I only communicate with within the Facebook group or the WhatsApp group. So from an accountancy practice point of view, it's to learn the new stuff that you are doing. So that's the questions there. So Kate shared, thank you very much, Simon. Great advice. I was treating it as a team day for the 6 of us. I'll now be giving them their own agenda, objectives, and a debrief on return implemented. Brilliant, Kate. Definitely. It's very, as I said at the beginning, it is very easy to go along to Accountex as a bit of a jolly, especially with the parties on the Wednesday night, and then that writes off Thursday because we've overindulged in a glass of Prosecco and a beef burger or whatever it is they're giving away. But definitely set the objective, get return, and get the value for money that you want from going along. So I am 1 minute short of 10 o'clock, which I think is what I promised originally I would end on. I've not got any more questions specifically about Accountex that was submitted before. We're not there, Zoe. So thank you. Thank you, Zoe. So if nobody else has got any questions, I will just ask Mark to pop in the chat box again the WhatsApp link. So it is the last thing in there for you. I'll leave the webinar running so you can cut and paste it and all the rest of it so you can join the WhatsApp group. And And I'll finish by saying thank you very much for coming along today and for learning all about how to get the absolute maximum value that you can get out of Accountex. As I said, it's very simple, not necessarily easy, but make sure you do it. And I would love to see you on stand at 300 during the course of the 2 days. And of course, come along and see me speak on team issues and banish the bottleneck and all the rest of it at 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock on the Wednesday. Thank you for your thank yous in the chat box. If anybody's got any questions, as always, you know where I am. Mark's popped the link in the group. So brilliant. So thank you for coming along. Thank you for everybody that has asked questions. And I really, really look forward to seeing you next Wednesday and Thursday. Bye-bye. 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 Thank you for watching this video where I shared my top tips for getting absolute value out of Accountex 2022. As always, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so you get notified the next time we upload a video. And if you have any comments or questions, please post them below and I will gladly answer them for you. On the screen now, you should be able to see the next 2 videos that we recommend you watch to be inspired, challenged, and supported to be the best accountancy practice you can be.